If you had no plans to be here, why did you have to leave? If that's what you really want. Oh.
Good evening, everyone. You're especially welcome to this session. I trust we all are set for this session. In a moment, we shall begin this session. Good evening, Mr. OLAYINKA Sunday. Are you set for us today?
Good evening. So can you speak louder, please? I can't hear your voice.
All right. Good evening, everyone. You're especially welcome to this session. I trust everyone is set for this session today. Please use the chat box if you are set. Okay. I can see our chat in the chat box. So in a moment, sir, we'll be bringing you up to take up the teaching. But before that, I'll be sharing your profile, and I would like to invite Olayinka to read your profile to the public. Olayinka, please, are you set?
Yes, I am.
All right. So I'll be sharing the profile now, and then you take over from there. Mr. Mr. Olayinka, please get set. After the profile, we'll be calling you up to take over the teaching.
Okay, all right, no problem.
All right, sir. So Ronke, you can take over.
Olayinka is a treasury analyst at Access Bank PLC with focus on liquidity management, deal advisory, fixed income, and foreign currency. Prior to joining Access Bank PLC, he worked as a financial analyst at Afri Invest West Africa Limited. He is a graduate of Obafemi Awolowo with a solid background in accounting and finance, and a scholar with an undiluted interest in finance, strategy, and investment. He graduated top of his class with a CGPA of 4.88 and has been unrelenting in acquiring skills, in brackets, technical and soft, necessary to become an outstanding financial analyst, including taking up the CIBN and CFA program. Olayinka is an exemplary individual with great winning mindset. He is a chartered accountant with a couple of awards, including overall best graduating student of Obafemi Awolowo University, the Faculty of Administration, the Department of Management and Accounting 2016/2017 session, first runner-up Access School of Banking Excellence 2019 Lagos Business School Young Talents recipient, overall best student in 2016 ICANN ATSWA examination, in brackets, Silver Scholarship, 2015 MTN Foundation Scholar, 2014 NNPC Chevron Scholar, among others. He is a team player with a sense of professionalism, self-motivated, and a decision maker with excellent organizational, analytical, and interpersonal skills. Leaders, please make welcome Mr. Olayinka.
Thank you very much for the wonderful introduction, Olayinka. So I'll be sharing my screen now for us to see. Sorry.
You can share your screen now, sir.
Okay, you want to share it for me?
You can share your screen
Okay,
now.
okay. So it was saying host. All right. So can you all see my screen now?
Right, sir.
All right. So I would like to first and foremost appreciate the leadership of Leaders Force Company for organizing this wonderful webinar, and of course appreciate our listeners for coming around to participate with us and enjoy the necessary learnings that is essential for us to move forward in our life. So today I've been asked to speak on financial literacy, managing our finance in 2021. And as you have said, I'm a banker and a money market dealer for the bank, also a trader for the bank. And I also have passion for personal financial management, which is, of course, the reason I'm here today to tell us about what personal financial management is and what financial literacy entails, as well as bring about things that will make us manage our finance in 2021. So please, this section will be for 45 minutes, and there will be a question and answer session after that for us to train our question and we can answer. All right, so basically, we'll be starting with what financial literacy entails. Then we move to reflecting on our past year, which is 2021. Of course, how to set financial goals for 2021, setting up personal budgets, and lastly, making investments and habits. Sorry, I'm reflecting on our goals, reflecting on previous year, which is 2020, not 2021. Okay, so let's ride on. So basically, what does financial literacy entails? That's the first thing we need to know. And for those that have done economics, maybe probably in secondary school or probably university, our lecturers will tell us that financial resources, economic resources, they are scarce, they are limited. But human wants are unlimited, they are insatiable. What does that mean? It implies that resources we have to satisfy our wants can never be enough. And that then means that we have to ensure we manage those resources to satisfy our utmost need and wants altogether. So as an individual, it is very, very important for us to know the meaning of what financial literacy is. And not just know the meaning alone, how to inculcate it in our practical day-to-day activities, how to ensure that we breed financial literacy altogether, how to ensure that our money are accounted for as we spend them and as we make them, not just collecting salary and not knowing how you spend the salary. So it is very, very important for us to ensure we have money management skills and knowledge imbibed in us, because the economy itself is hard. So you cannot make life hard on yourself by not being financially literate altogether. So it's very, very important for us to do this. And last year was a year that was filled with pandemic and sort of where we probably would not achieve our goals the way we wanted to do that. But it was also a year whereby there were a lot of financial breakthrough for some people due to their ability to bring in financial literacy attitude into their day-to-day activity. So it is very, very important for us to do that, because sometimes we need to stick to what we plan, and the way for us to do that is to plan it altogether. So the first step for financial literacy is to have a plan, and all these ones, all the plans that we have, how do we practically ensure that the plans are effective and we try to maximize the plan, is also what we refer to as financial literacy. So financial literacy basically implies that you have a set of skills and knowledge that will allow you to make informed decisions and effective decisions about your financial resources and the ability to understand how money works. That is basically what financial literacy is. And not just knowing these things, not just reading books about financial literacy. It also implies that you have to ensure that these things are part of you. These things are what you do on a daily basis. You can't just be financially literate for 1 month and boom, that's all. You don't even remember what you've done in the previous month. So you have to ensure that these things are part of your day-to-day activity. There's a discipline in you to ensure that you're financially literate. You have the responsibility to financially literate because of your scarce resources and your unlimited ones. Now, I've already drafted what I call the 4 pillar of financial literacy, which is earn, save, spend, and invest. Now, earn basically is basically talking about your income, sources of income that you make, and what are the sources of income. You have to identify them and ensure that you find a way of expanding them. So that should be one of the mantra that you're going to be creating this particular year. That is trying to expand your source of income to increase your earning, right? So the next one is spend. Spending basically is you spend what you make. You can't spend more than what you make, except if you borrow. And when you borrow, it implies that you have to pay in the future. And what do you used to pay in the future? You pay with your income again. So you can't actually spend more than what you earn. Do you get? So because even if you are going to be borrowing to spend today, you're still going to pay in the future with your future earnings, right? So your spending should be determined by how much you earn and not the willingness to spend. You can't just say you feel like buying anything and just buy it. You have to calculate, if this money goes this way, how will it affect tomorrow? How will it affect my other expenditure? Is this the right thing to spend the money on? So we have to have this accountability towards spending money. Then the next part is save and invest. Now, saving and invest comes from the difference between what you make and what you spend. It implies that you have to find a way of making more money, spending less, and investing the difference. Now, investing the difference is different from saving the difference. Most people think saving and investing, they are the same thing, but of course, they are different. Saving is when you are trying to keep the money aside, put the money aside for an immediate need. So you might decide to put the money in a savings account, in a current account, where you don't need it, where you need it for probably something that you're going to be doing in the next 2-3 days. That is where you save. So savings most likely will not come with risk. But when you invest, investing comes with risk altogether. So when you invest, you are investing at a rate that is substantial enough to beat inflation rates. So that's the major difference between saving and investing. Saving is when you are probably keeping money or putting money in a return which is lesser than the inflation rate. Inflation rate currently, I think, is 15.49%, which means the return you're going to be making on saving will be less than 15.49%. While for investing, you most likely try to look for those viable investment products that will give you a return that is above your inflation rate in Nigeria. And of course, if you check most investment products in Nigeria, they are, of course, below the inflation rate, which implies that you have to invest outside the country to beat the inflation rate altogether. So that's. So we move to reflecting on 2020. Now, as I said before, 2020 was a year of pandemic. The COVID-19 was all over the places, and it was a year whereby a lot of things changed. Just like we were working, like most people are working from home now. Before we were going to office to work, but now it's now work from home. It implies that there are some plans that you might have made in 2020 that was not coming through because of the pandemic or because of one reason or the other. It may also, of course, the pandemic has also been a blessing for some people, for some of us, but we need to reflect on what happened in 2020 because that is the first step to planning for your 2021. You have to reflect on how you carry out your activity in 2020. And you cannot take it as trying to judge yourself or despise yourself because you did not do very well in 2020. Everybody did not do very well. Most people did not do very well. So you can't make it. So you have to look for dwell more on the good side and learn from the mistakes you made in 2020. That is the first step. You also have to analyze how you spend in 2020. It's very, very important to do that because that is going to determine how you are going to spend in 2021 if you are not careful. So if you've spent badly in 2020, you have to check those things you bought, those things you incur expenses on. Did these things add value to my life or not? You have to know that. So the first step, for example, for now, you can probably get your bank statement, your investment income statement, and maybe any other form of financial statement you can have, maybe where you keep your data now. You can get it, analyze it one by one, check how you spend your money, check what you spend your money on, and try to see, is this thing really worth it? Or can you improve on this? do I need to incur money on this? So all these things are very, very important. Also, you have to check your sources of income. Not just the ones that are constant, but the ones that are discretionary. That is the one I don't even think of coming, and it came. So all these sources, you have to ensure that in 2021, this income you get is will increase. One, that's the first thing. You need to ensure that it increases, and not just increasing alone, spending it in the right manner, spending it in the right way and in the right proportion. That is very, very important. So what are sources of income? You have to identify it. You also have to learn from your mistakes. Learn from your mistake might include probably overspending. You got the part, because it's very, very easy for us to overspend and do impulse buying, especially for those income that we do not expect to come. And all of a sudden, you just have the income. You won't even think of saving it. You think it's free money, then let me spend it freely. But that should not be the case. This money you're calling free money, you must have worked for it one way or the other. So you can't really say it's a free money. It's not possible. Something must have led to something for this money to come. So you have to ensure that this money, the way it comes, how can you multiply that particular source? And that implies that you have to either invest that money or you use that money for something that will improve your source of income altogether. So either you use that money to make more money, or you use that money to ignite your passion, your talent, or your learning skills. So that will also bring about more money. So it's very, very important for us to know that our source of income, whether it is constant or not, must have been because of our handwork. And that implies that we have to spend it wisely. So another mistake that you probably made in 2020 was wrong investment decisions, investing in disguised investment products that you thought they were real or genuine products because of your lack of research, lack of good financial backings or good financial background, you probably spent it in an unwise decision product altogether. So you also have to check whether you've been investing long-term fund that you need for short-term needs. So if you have a fund and you need this for probably 2-3 months, or you are investing it in a product that is like 4-5 years, what that implies is that you have to check that in 2021. That should not happen. You cannot have an investment mismatch. All right. So you have to check the mistake you made in 2020 and see the way you can avoid such mistake in 2021. Okay, so the next point is setting your financial goals in 2020. Setting your financial goals in 2020. Now, this is very, very important because you need to know whether you are making progress or not, right? You need to have financial goals for the new year. And that boils down to the fact that you must have reviewed your 2021, see those ones that you missed out, and see if you can achieve it in this new year. So the first step is that you set financial goals. So financial goals might be long term, it might be short term, and it might be medium term, depending on what you need to achieve, depending on your mission and vision, or what are your plans towards creating and increasing your wealth. So setting goals, because they serve as a benchmark for measuring your success. Not just measuring your success alone, it also serves as a way of giving your life a form of direction and focus on things that are important, right? So when you have a goal to achieve something, you already have that in mind. So it's just like saying, if you are not with a goal, you probably have achieved that thing and you won't know, right? But if you have a goal, you probably know that when you are achieving this thing, you are achieving it. If you can even measure the level of your achievements and see the way you can improve on achieving more. So that is basically one of the importance of setting your financial goals. And not just giving your life a form of direction. It also creates this self-awareness and motivates you to achieve those set goals and also exceed expectation. So that is very, very important. And setting goals is not just about just writing your goals down and know that you have goals already. You have to be able to set goals that are important, that are valuable to you, and that are motivating. Now, that is the first thing. You must be able to get a pen, write down why do you have these financial goals? Why do you set financial goals? You must be able to, because basically financial goals is like a means to an end. So you must be able to connect that means to the end. The end is to probably, the reason I'm saving now is probably for me to write this particular course. That is a very straightforward. So your investment must have direction, and direction comes from what? From setting financial goals. If you don't have goals, you probably invest and not even have, so your investments or your savings will not have meaning if you don't have financial goals. That's the simple truth. It will not have meaning. So it is very, very important for us to set goals that are valuable to us, that are important to our mission, to what we want to achieve in life, and of course that are motivating. That is, we are willing to put all our efforts to achieve those financial goals. Not just setting important goals and seeing it on your, okay, these goals, you have to what? Write it down. Cultivate the habit of writing your goals down, because this in itself is a way of reminding yourself that, okay, you need to achieve these goals, right? So you must have a way of writing it down, either writing it on a sheet of paper or probably in your notepad, on your diary, that these goals, they are in me, I need to achieve them, right? So cultivate the habit of writing goals down. Once you write it down, you can easily go back to where you wrote it. And if there's a need for you to probably redraft it due to some external circumstances that might probably bring about maybe upward review of the goals or downward review of the goals, you have a reference to go back and edit it or try to revise the goals, right? So it gives you this form of way of revising your goals once you've written it down, because you can easily go back to that reference point and edit the goals. So another reason you need to write down your goals is because it is very, very important for you to track your success. You need to know whether you are achieving it or not, achieving the goals or not. And the best way to do that, because the funny thing is that once there's probably in the new year, everybody has had new resolution and all sorts of resolution everywhere, left and right. But how many of us wrote it down? Because I'm very, very sure by say April, June, most of us must have forgotten most of our new resolution. But if you are written it down, it's very, very easy for us to remember these resolutions, then track it as we are achieving it one after the other. So that is very important, writing down your goals and writing it down in a conspicuous way you can easily see it, whether if you are waking up in the morning or if you are going to work or probably coming back from work. So you can probably write it down, put it in front of your mirror. Anytime you're looking at your mirror, you are seeing your goals already. Or another option is probably put it in your at the back of your wallet or any place that is very easy for you to see those goals and remind yourself that you need to achieve these goals. The next point is ensure your goals are SMART. So SMART, which I'm very sure most of us are aware of the meaning, implies specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So basically, our goals must be specific. You must have goals that are specific, not just general. You want to be financially buoyant in 2021. That is not specific, that's general. You have to be able to streamline your goals towards a particular set of achievements, right? So that implies that your goals must be what? Must be specific. Then it must be measurable. Measurable implies that you can put a form of quantitative analysis to it, right? You must be able to say, okay, I want to achieve so amount. I want to save so amount. I want to make so amount in investment this particular year. So that is a measurable goal, because this goal is quantifiable. You've been able to put an amount to what you want to achieve, not just financial goals alone. Any other, maybe career-wise, maybe spiritual-wise. So these things must be measurable. They must be measurable. And of course, they must be attainable. Now, attainable, people tend to set goals that are below their standard when they hear the word attainable. Attainable in itself does not mean that you must set goals that are below your standard. You must set goals that give you this particular motivation to do more, that challenges your ability to do more, right? So you must set not just attainable goals, but ambitious financial goals, right? So these goals must be able to take you out of your comfort zone to do more, to read about financial markets, to read about financial products, to read enough things that will ensure that you achieve those goals. Then, apart from being attainable, it must be relevant. I think I mentioned the word relevant in the first point. I said now relevant implies that those goals must be important to your end results, because the goals itself, they are like a means to an end, right? So it implies that you have to make those goals align with your end. That is the ultimate desire that you have in life, probably to build a house, probably to have a nice company somewhere in Bahamas. So these are the things that implies that you need to now break down these your missions into goals, which means you have to be able to link those goals towards to your end results. And for us to do that, those goals must be relevant, they must be valuable, and must be important to the end results. Lastly, it must be time-based. Time-based is straightforward. So depending on your form of where you want to achieve your end results, that will determine how your goal is going to span through. But you must attach time to your financial goals. You can't just say you want to make 500k this year in terms of maybe dividend return on dividend. You can't just say that. You have to put it maybe at the end of Q1, I should be able to have gotten so amounts from investments. At the end of Q1 or Q2, I should be able to have expanded my source of income to probably other alternative. If you are having a business before, probably you're trying to expand your business to bring in more income for you. So it implies that you must bring in a time bound for your financial goals altogether. So that is that's about setting your financial goals. So let's look at practical financial goals that you can set for yourself in 2021. So one important goals that you can set for yourself in 2021 is budgeting. So if you've not been practicing budgeting before, if you've not been practicing budgeting before, this is the time to start now. You have to be able to inculcate the habit of recording your income and expenses, even right before they occur. You must have seen them coming. So not just have one. Of course, you can have emergency fund and things like that, but even that one, you must have planned for it. That okay, it's possible that you have something that was not planned for. So you plan for what was not planned for. So that's where budgeting comes in. The ability for you to foresee incoming expenses and incoming income altogether. So not just when the money comes, I will spend it the way my expenses comes. But you must have projected these are the expenses that are going to be incurring. That is budgeting. So if you've not started doing that, this is the best time to start 2021. So that should be part of your financial goals. Another financial goals that you can have is pay yourself first. Now, pay yourself first is not about carrying yourself to lunch to go and enjoy yourself. That is not paying yourself first. Paying yourself first, it implies that you are what? You are preserving, you are trying to build wealth for yourself. And the best way to do that is to what? Is to invest. Invest in yourself, invest in your financial products. So paying yourself first has two branches. Investing in yourself and investing in financial products or financial markets or business-wise. So these are the things that can help you increase your wealth and also preserve your income. So you can, for example, decide to automate your savings. That is, if your salary and once your salary comes in, maybe 20% or 30% of your salary is already saved automatically once the money, just like you are paying tithes, or just like you are paying tax. So the income that you should be putting at the back of your mind is your income before tax and savings. So the savings part is basically the one you're going to be investing to build your wealth, to expand your future incomes together. So that is paying yourself first. Then have an emergency fund. This cannot be overemphasized. It's very, very important. And I'm very sure in fact, maybe few of us has what we refer to as emergency fund. But it's very, very important because it serves as a form of personal insurance for us in case of immediate and emergency funding, if there's a need for that, because you can't easily predict the future. And the best way to predict the future is to prepare for the future, right? So we have to be able to take a proportion of our income to a particular investment trust that is, of course, less risk, but you can easily extract those funds to cater for situations or cases whereby you need immediate funding. And you have to also think that if, for example, I'm probably not going to work because probably my company closed down, or I was, God forbid, probably they sacked you from your work, how will you survive? Right? So you must be able to at least survive without any form of external income for, let's say, 2-3 months. And this is where emergency fund comes in, because it saves you from unnecessary stress. we can't predict the future. That's the first thing we need to know. So we need to what? Prepare for the future. Now, next one is stick to no debt or low interest debt. Now, stick to no debt. I think I said before that it's easy for you to borrow because you have a lot of borrowing platforms everywhere, the fintech companies, even banks. So when your income cannot take care of your expense, it implies that the next thing to do is to what? Borrow so that you are going to be what? Be able to cater for your expenses. But borrowing is not bad in itself. But when you borrow to spend unnecessarily, that is when it is bad, right? So you have to be able to, what are you spending that money that you borrow? What are you spending it on? Is it going to be adding value to your life or not? And even if you want to borrow, you must be able to identify those products, those borrowing platforms that you can what? Borrow at a very low interest, or even no interest at all. I have a particular friend that is into providing loans for students that are probably trying to take courses, probably academic courses or career-wise courses that will enhance their and expand their source of income, right? So you must be able to identify what you are spending the money that you borrowed on. What is exactly the effect of that particular expenditure on your life? Is it just for you can't say you want to borrow for Ashwebi or borrow for traditional wedding. That is not going to add value to your life. Are we together? So you must be able to identify that this expense that I'm incurring my borrowed money on, what is the chance that I'm going to pay back that money from new incomes and not just the one I have before? Are we together? So we must be able to what? Borrow for the good cause, not just borrowing for borrowing's sake. So take advantage of fintech products that offers low interest in case you want to borrow. So we have fintech products here. I think I'll also mention some of them to you. So you can take advantage of those ones that have probably 1%, 2%, very, very low, even 0% or zero interest. You can take advantage of those platforms to borrow loan in case you want to borrow. In the next financial goals that you might want to bring in 2021 is have investing as an habit, because believe you me, this is the only way you can probably create wealth. If you are, especially if you are a salary earner, you are having 9 to 5 work. Your 9 to 5 work, anyway, if you become a CEO of the company, it's possible. But even with that, you still need to invest, right? So not just making money alone, use your money to make more money, and that is where investment comes in, right? So you must be able to preserve your source of income and also expand your source of income. And the only way you can do that is to have an investment or investing habit. That is the ability for you to set aside your present income now to make more money in the future, to invest in the future. Then now you can't bring that excuse of you don't have any money. You can start with as low as possible income, as low as possible fund, right? So it's very, very important for us to do this because this is the only way to preserve our income and to expand our source of income. Then lastly, invest in yourself. Investing in yourself implies that you want to be financially literate, just like we are here now listening to this particular presentation. This is one of the ways you can invest in yourself. That is, learn about things, know things, read, do your research, learn about the financial markets, read financial books, read financial literatures. Take courses that will enhance, that will expand your income, not just financially, but career-wise. So you need to be able to look at it from now till next year. What are the ways that I can bring in more money to me? What are the ways? So you can probably use your more money to make more money. You can use your talents to make more money, or use your passion to make more money. So these are the things that you can do, but you can't just have this passion without probably discovering it and seeing somebody or trying to discover it yourself or uncover it yourself. So you have to invest in yourself, right? So because this is the only way you can actually increase your income. Because investing in yourself is not just about trying to expand your business. Also learn about investing. That alone itself is investing in yourself. All right. So I think my time trying to watch the time. Okay. So setting up personal budget. Setting up personal budget is also very, very important because when you have your financial goals, you need to know how you can articulate, how you can summarize this particular financial goals or practically bring about these financial goals. And the best way to do that is to, is to have a personal budget. Because personal budget itself is like a roadmap telling you how your money wants to be spent. So you are instructing your money that, okay, I want my money to do so. I don't want to do so. So when this expense that you don't want to incur comes, you know how to what, to waive it off, because it's not part of your personal budget, right? So it's very, very important for us to set a personal budget. And set a personal budget, you can use different formats. There are a lot of budgeting apps. You have Mint. I think I have one that is Mint. You have another one that is Pocket Guard. So all these things are very, very important, because I think one of them is even linked. You can even link it directly to your bank account. So it's going to list your expense, list your income, and of course, give you an insight of how you be spending your money and how you can control how you spend your money in the future. So this is very, very important. And another way you can set up a budget is to use this 50-20-30 rule. That is, you have this sort of expense that you need to incur, but you have already grouped them into their categories. So we have the essential expenses, which include the housing, transportation, utilities, and groceries. So these ones, of course, they are very, very important. They are like things that you cannot do without. You cannot do without paying your rent, or else you're not going to pursue you. So you have to be able to first, not really first, but be able to not spend more than 50% of your income on these expenses. This is your basic expense, like housing, transportation, utilities and groceries, and feeding. So these things are very, very essential to you. So you can't live without them. Definitely, you have to incur expense of them, but you must not spend more than 50% of your income. And it's very, very tricky actually, because when you look at your house rent, especially if you live in Lagos, the major expense you most likely going to be incurring and your transport cost. But thank God now for COVID, transport cost has reduced sort of, because everybody is now staying indoor, working from home and things like that. But you still have to incur some transport costs sometimes. So the house rent you are not going to be paying it every day. So you must be able to save those expenses, especially if you are someone that is an income earner that probably earns monthly or weekly. It implies that your house rent is a substantial amount of your expense, overall expense in a year. Then you have to find a way to save those housing expenses in such a way that you will be able to get those savings back when the time arises. So you can, for example, now the way I do is that I bring my house rent to my financial priorities, my savings, right? So it won't. So I most likely reduce this one to what, to like say 20%, since my house rent has gone. So once you are, for example, now when salary comes in, the first thing I say is that you have to automate your savings, right? So once you automate your savings, say you cut off 50% as savings. That 50% you cut off as savings. Part of that 50% is your house rent, right? So you are not, the remaining 50% will now be for your essential expense, excluding house rent, then your lifestyle choices. Then these 50%, which include your house rent, can now be used for what? For investment and savings based on your immediate and future needs, right? So out of the 50%, then you can now say, okay, 20% and some money will be saved in such a way that I'm going to receive my fund back when I need to pay my house rent altogether. So that is very, very important. And of course, essential expenses also include your commitments, because it's very, very easy for you to promise people, especially family and maybe churches, financial needs. You can promise them financial commitment or give them financial commitment. So you must be able to differentiate between your financial priorities and your essential expenses. Then lastly is your lifestyle choices, where you probably incur those things that are not really important for your life, but of course you have to incur them because of your social standard, because you want to keep your social standard upright, right? So you must be able to keep not more than 30% of your income on these things like trying to go for dinner, go for entertainment, subscribing on Netflix, and paying for phone subscriptions, paying for DSTV subscriptions. These things are what you can do without, but of course, you still have to incur them, which means you have to be careful because they are the ones that you can easily spend more than enough on. So where you actually have to put a very good eyes on is your lifestyle choices, because these things, they are unlimited, right? They are unlimited, which means you can, in fact, you can spend your 100% on this particular lifestyle choices. So you have to be very careful when you get your income, and that is where personal budget comes in. So getting your personal budget gives you this form of direction on what your money will do for you, right? So, and your personal budget must capture all your incomes, all your income. So you can't just ignore some else, because it's very, very easy for us to get a sudden income and spend it lavishly because we did not plan for it, right? So even if your personal budget does not capture your income, because sometimes it's not possible to capture your income, because there's some income that will come without you expecting it, right? So you must be able to, if I have an unexpected income, how do I spend it, right? So you should avoid what we call impulse buying, buying for to impress people that don't even see you, right? So buying things that are not even necessary because you entered the mall today, you saw this thing, you love it, then you bought it because you have the money. That should not be the case. All right. So what are the steps to creating a personal budget? The first step is to get your financial statements and paperwork. So financial statements basically include your bank statement, if you have been investing before, your investment statement, and any form of maybe your how you spend your money and what are the sources of your income. You need to get everything, the evidence. So it's very, very important for us to, if we are sending money out, let us try and put narration so that you won't forget. You won't forget how you spend the money, right? So it's very important for us to track our expenses on a day-to-day basis. So if you've not been doing that before, the best to do that is to probably inculcate the habit of putting, if you are sending money to your friend for probably a loan, you have to be there, a loan to so person. If you are paying money for feeding, put it there, food stop money. So it gives you this form of tracking habit of tracking how your money is being spent. Then if you've gotten all your paperwork and everything, then you can easily calculate your income from various sources. Now, income from various sources is very, because we have the one that are fixed, like your monthly salary, your leave allowance, your medical allowance, and things like that. So those ones, you know when they are coming, you know how much the money is. But there are some that you don't even know if they'll be coming or not. Like, for example, they pay you bonus in your company. You don't know the exact amount they will pay you. In fact, you don't know when they will pay you the amount. So you need to be able to give yourself a form of an expenditure control technique in income relating to what? To impulse, to those incomes that you don't actually have the control over the timing and the amount altogether. So those incomes you also have to calculate and at least give a rough estimate of how much is it. Then determine your fixed and variable expenses. This is also very, very important, because your fixed expense, that one is actually very easy because you know them. You have the exact amount you incur every day on your electricity bill. Or let us say, in fact, not electricity bill, let's say your house rent. You know the exact amount you pay for subscription. So those ones are fixed expenses. So it might be part of your essential expenses or part of your lifestyle choices. So the first thing is to know your fixed and variable expense. Then out of your fixed expense, you have the ones that are for your essential activities like feeding, like shelter and the likes. Then you also have the ones that are for lifestyle choices like subscription and the likes also. So these things are very, very important because it helps you track them and control them and avoid the ones that are necessary altogether. Because if you don't know the ones that are necessary, you probably spend all your money on the ones that are unnecessary, right? So you must be able to know your fixed expenses and also your variable expenses. Variable expenses might come in terms of your transportation costs, because you don't know the exact number of time you'll be moving. You also need to, of course, be able to identify the ones that are for lifestyle choices and for essential services. This itself again will help you to avoid spending unnecessarily. Let me check my time. All right, so I think so I need to rush now. Not just rush. So you also need to apply the 50-20-30 budget rule, which of course we've discussed before. then you need to monitor and continue to track your budget items. This is very, very important. So it's not just about setting your personal budget alone and going to sleep. But able to check whether is this budget in line, my actual expenses, are they in line with what I planned them to be, right? So you're able to identify those expenses that you've incurred on and check whether it's part of your planned expenses. All right, so that is very, very, very important also. So you need to monitor and track those budget items. Not just tracking, if there's a need for you to review them due to one reason or the other that you cannot control you. Of course, you need to do that, but don't review every day. That doesn't make any sense. You need to review once in a while, because once you have the habit of reviewing your budget, then that is not budget again. That's not something else. So reviewing budgets, it should only come when you are being compelled to do such. So you can't just be reviewing budget because new expense comes in. This particular expense, what is the impact on your life? Can you do without the expense? So you need to first think twice before you insert unnecessary expense into your budget. All right. So the last part is making investments and habits, which is the secret towards to financial freedom and to growing wealth. So you need to be able to invest your money, not just spending it. You need to be able to invest. Have this mindset of investment. You can't increase your source of income if you don't invest. If you have businesses everywhere, believe me, if you make the income from that business, if you don't invest, you most likely spend the money. Even if you keep it somewhere, it's going to spend the money. So the best way to preserve your income or to increase your source of income is to invest. And what do we mean by investment? Investment basically is not just trying to you saw somebody that is doing forest now, you drop your money with the person that is doing forest, and that's all. You don't even know what the guy does. You don't even know how the guy invests the money. You don't even know whether the guy is doing MLM for you. You don't know, but you just put your money there because it's giving you a substantial income. But if you take time to look at the risk that is involved in that form of investment, so you must be able to do your proper research. You must be able to do your proper research in such a way that you know the value chain of your investment product, what it entails, what it means, what does stock market entails, what does the bond market implies, what are the things that you need to know. You must be able to carry out enough research to for your various investment products. And of course, investment should be in such a way that you are trying to make enough income, enough return that is above your inflation rate. So when you put your money in bank, it's as good as useless, because the interest you get from your savings account, I don't even think it's 1 to 1% again. So these things are just for your, if you save money, you are saving money for immediate needs. If you don't have an immediate need, then the best channel or the proper channel to do is to invest this money. So, and again, I think there's this excuse that they don't have enough to invest. That should not be the reason for not investing. You need to start with the little you have. Start somewhere. Everybody starts from somewhere. So you need to start from somewhere too. So this is very, very important. So I think I gave you somewhere. So we start with a plan. You spend enough time to research, not just researching. You also ask people around, those that are experts in that field, that aligns with your values and your goals in life. You need to ask them or watch them. What are they doing that they are using for that is making it right, but that's giving them enough income from investments. You also need to keep a diversified portfolio, which means you can't just put your eggs in one basket. You have to be able to spread your income in different investment products so as to minimize the risk on that particular income. Then align with your investment horizon. This is very, very important. Again, you can't invest the money you need in 2 days in an investment product of 3 months. That does not make any sense. To be able to align your investment need with your immediate need, or with your need, your investment product with your need, then of course you need to think long term and be consistent. And lastly, you need to learn from mistakes. Not just your own mistake, but mistakes from others. All right. So lastly, we talk about what are the investment products we now have. That are the ones that we have both in Nigeria and outside the country. Now, it has been easy for us now because one of the things that's very, very difficult in Nigeria is to get a return that is above inflation rate. It's very, very difficult, especially if you're an individual or a retail investor. You can only get a return above inflation rates if you have somebody that is an expert in that particular field. So, which is why these fintech platforms are very, very important for, because they give us this particular platform, this particular window to invest in foreign investment products. I want together. So this is very important because one, it beats, most of the time beats inflation rates, and as well as minimize the risk of currency fluctuation. It helps you to save your money from currency devaluation altogether. So this is very, very important. So investing your money in not just Nigerian investment products alone, but also products that are outside the country. So you can invest in fixed income investments, variable income investments, and alternative investments, right? So, but all these things can only be done when you've done your proper research. This is very, very, very important. So you need to know your level of risk appetite. How long can you take risk altogether? So you need to know this. So this is going to determine the products that are viable for you. So you can invest in T-bills, you can invest in the bond market, in the mutual fund. Now, mutual fund is it's a very, very good investment product, because the guys that are managing this fund, they are experts. They know what they are doing. So it gives you this advantage of somebody is helping you manage your money, and it's giving you consistent, viable return. Then you have the variable income investment. You have stock, including local currency and foreign currency, and the mutual funds too. This also is being managed by somebody. Then we also have the alternative investment using the cryptocurrencies, which is one of the things that people are probably running into now. But it's very, very important for you to be careful when you are doing these things. You have to carry out your proper research. You know what this investment is all about. Not just joining the bandwagon. You have to know the things that the investment entails, BTC, Ethereum, and the like. So you need to do this. Not just it's not about now. I'm not saying you should start trading this product. Investment alone itself implies that you need to know them. So it's not only when you are trading that you need to know them. You need to know them also when you are investing in them. And if you're investing in cryptocurrency, you can't be an investor for short-term basis. It's not possible. You have to probably go to lose money, except if you're a trader, right? So it's very, very important for us to do our research before we probably invest in an investment product. In real estate too, it's very good if you have enough money to do that. Now, I gave a summary of last year performance for the Nigerian markets, the financial market of Nigeria, including the NSE, which is the Nigerian Stock Exchange, which returned 50%. Then the bond market returned substantially above. Okay, so the bond market returned substantial returns. Then the US naira, the foreign currency market also, of course, Nigerian naira devalued against the USD, and that gives it 23% return. So which means if you had invested your money in a foreign currency, not just so even if that currency does not give you any return, you already have 23%, because when you convert that exact money back to naira, you have, so for example, now let's say you probably converted 100 naira to $1 at the beginning of 2020. At the end of 2020, you have 123 naira without your money doing anything for you. So let's now imagine that you now have the income on S&P 500, which I think was 27%. So if you have 27% plus 23%, it implies that you already have 40-something percent in terms of return in just investing in a foreign stock. You get, so it is very important for us to know these things. Know that it is possible for us to invest in Tesla. It's possible for us to invest in Apple, which are foreign stocks, and not just Nigerian stocks alone. Then, of course, the Euro bond market and Nigerian bond markets returned 9% and 5%. Now, this bond market, you can easily invest in them when you do mutual funds, right? So you can't just go as an individual to go and buy bonds. It's not possible. They won't sell it for you. They only sell bonds to corporate entities. So the only way to probably invest in the bond market is through the mutual fund. So mutual fund might be money market fund, it might be bond-oriented mutual fund. So this is where you can probably get the return that you need on the bond and on your T-bills. So I think I also gave examples of these platforms, which of course you can also try to check online. You have the fintech platforms for investment. You can have RiseVest, chaka, bamboo, and trove. So all these things, they give you this opportunity to buy foreign stocks with naira. So convert your naira to dollar, then use to buy foreign stocks. Then once you see that there's an upturn in the price of the stock, you can sell, then make your money with two sources from the foreign currency exchange. Because definitely naira will continue to devalue against dollar, except otherwise. So you make your money in terms of the return, make your money in terms of what the foreign currency and devaluation. So we also have lending platforms like Carbon, Quick Money, Kiakia Loan that gives you this opportunity to borrow in a low substantial amount. Of course, also commercial banks also give this, like Access Bank, GT Bank, and Standard Chartered. They are like zero interest loans on them. They can borrow without paying interest. We also have present platform like Luno, Quidas, and Binance that give you this particular opportunity to use your naira to buy what? To buy Bitcoin and the likes. And lastly, you have a savings platform, which is very, very important, Cowrywise and Piggyvest, because it's from your savings that you can now say you want to what? Invest. Because if you keep that money somewhere and you have access to that money, you will spend it. So you need to first save. Then from your saving, you can now start allocating to different investment products to bring about diversified portfolio. And I think the major point that I need to make here is that we need to continue to carry out our research. I'm happy that you guys are here today because it's like a form of investing in yourself for financial wealth. So it's very, very important for us to do this because this is like the key to financial freedom and financial success. So I think that would be all. Thank you very much. So if you have any question, let have that.
Thank you so much, sir, for this great and exciting session on finance. I'm sure all participants
Sorry?
were able to pick.
Your voice is very low. Am I the only one that is not hearing your voice very well?
I'm sure everyone was.
Wow. We can hear you, SARS.
Can you hear me now,
yeah,
sir?
We can.
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm sure everyone was able to pick something from this session on finance. I'm sure we'll be able to manage our finance to the extent that 2021 we can beat our chest to say we achieved something financially. Thank you, sir, for this session. And again, please, if you have questions, you can send in your question. If you want to use your voice, please signify so I will unmute you. Thank you for joining. Please send in your questions also. Please, if you have questions, you can send them in. Hello, sir. Please, we'll wait for questions. I'm sure some participants are typing questions. Okay, sir, there's a question here. Can I go on with it, sir?
All right, no problem. You can go on with it.
All right. The first question, sir, can you explain the difference between bonds and stocks?
All right. So bonds and stock, they are actually different. I think I classified them as one is fixed income, the other one is variable income, right? So when you say stock is that you're having an ownership in the shareholding of a company. So when you buy a stock, you are like the owner of that company. So your return is variable. You are not sure whether you're going to be making. You don't have an exact money you're going to be making from that particular stock. So stock sort of income can come from dividend or you trying to resell that particular stock. So the return on stock is not fixed. For bond is like you are trying to borrow the company money. So stock is when you buy the company, you buy part of the company. While bond is when you borrow the company money. So when you borrow a company money, you have a fixed rate that will be paying you for what? For the money you borrow them. So your bond has a fixed income, while your stock has a variable income because you are like the owner of the business and you're going to be sharing from the profit and loss of that business. But if the company is making loss, they will still pay you your income if you are what? If you are a bond owner, if you are a bond holder. So stock has more risk than what? Than bond. So I think that's like the main difference between stock and bond.
Thank you so much, sir, for the explanation. Okay, we have another question, and before that, I think someone is raising his hand. Let me unmute the person, please. If you want to ask your question, as I unmute you, you can ask. That is David Adekunle. Please speak as I unmute you. Okay, I think he's not. Are you ready to speak, sir?
So I'm not yet.
David, please, are you ready to speak? Wow. Okay. Please, I will go to the next question now. Please, David, we can't hear you clearly. Use the chat box. Okay, sir, are you with us? Mr. Olayinka, are you with us? Please hold on while we connect Mr. Olayinka. He went off the meeting. I think that should be because of network issues. Please hold on while we contact him. Thank you. Please, leaders, hold on while we connect with Mr. Olayinka. He's off the meeting now, and that should be because of network issues. There has been issues with the network generally. So please hold on. We are trying to contact him now. So we'll join the meeting very soon. This meeting will end very soon, and then we will be connecting with Sam Naike. That will be our last session for today. You will still be joining this meeting with the same link with which you used to join this one. So we'll end this meeting after it joins and it gives the closing remark. So hold on while we connect it. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Olayinka is in the waiting room. He's going to join now. Okay, he's here in the meeting with us. Mr. Olayinka, are you set for us now?
The network interruption. I don't know how.
Yes, I understand. Network has been bad since about 2 weeks now. Wow.
Yeah.
So, sir, we have another question. We should end this meeting very, very soon because we have another session by 7.
Okay.
And, okay, we have the next question. I would like to know how paying yourself first works. That is
All right.
from
So,
Robert.
okay. So, thank you very much for that lovely question. So, pay yourself first works in a way that you need to be able to save before spending or investing before spending. So, I think let me put on my video. So, when you pay yourself first, it implies that you are investing, like you are protecting your future for the present expenditure, against the present expenditure. So, and the best way to do that is to automate your savings. So, your income should be income after tax and savings, and not just income after tax alone. So, your mindset should be wired in such a way that you know that this particular reserve is for my future, not my present. Because pay myself first implies that I'm trying to invest in myself. And the best way to invest in myself is to invest in either my career or in my academics or in my knowledge to increase my source of income. And that point where you have to save or invest first before you now incur immediate expense is when you pay yourself first. And of course, these fintech platforms, you can easily do it on Cowrywise or Piggyvest, where you probably have to automate your savings. Once your salary comes in, they will just call the 20% that you've been saving all the time So you won't be able to have access to that 20% for your immediate expenditure because that money is going to go securing your future. Right? So that's that.
Thank you so much, sir, for the answers to the question. We're about rounding this meeting in less than 2 minutes. Before we round the meeting, I would like to call on Kingsley Chukuma to give the closing remarks, and then we end the meeting. Before we end the meeting, I would like to inform you all that
we have another session by 7 p.m. with Sam Naike. So you all should join with the same link with which you should join this meeting now. So we will pass an information to everyone very soon. Kingsley, I'm sure you're set for this session. Please hold on while we connect Kingsley.
All right, good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me? Okay, it's been an amazing session so far on financial literacy. We celebrate you, sir, Mr. OLAYINKA Sunday. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure the leaders here have also learned a lot. While we have holding this on via Zoom, we're also streaming live to we're also streaming live to YouTube on YouTube. So you can always have a replay of this session on YouTube. You can always have a replay of this session on YouTube. So like our director of operations has rightly said, we'll be ending this session very soon, and we'll be joining in for the last session for this masterclass, January 2021, with none other than the amiable Sam Naike. So I encourage us to go off, then join back immediately. We'll continue the meeting immediately after now. Once again, I really appreciate you, sir, Mr. OLAYINKA Sunday, for your time with us tonight. We celebrate you, sir. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. My utmost pleasure.
Thank you so much, Mr. OLAYINKA, for this session. We really enjoyed the session. We hope to call you again very soon.
No problem.
Session at Leader Sports Company. Please, if you have questions, you can send your questions through our email. We'll pass it to Mr. OLAYINKA. Thank you so much. Sir, can you drop your contact details on how people can reach you in case some people want to
okay, I'll drop that in the chat now.
Maybe your social media platform. All right, sir. Okay, thank you so much, sir. Everyone, that is his WhatsApp contact. So you can get every other details to Mr. OLAYINKA from the WhatsApp contact. Thank you so much, sir, for this teaching. Thanks to all participants. You can join this meeting in less than 5 minutes. The reason why we are going off and then coming back is because we have each sessions on YouTube, and we want each sessions to be separated. So in less than 5 minutes, we'll be disconnecting very soon, and then we'll be connecting back to Sam Naike. Thank you so much for this session. Thank you for joining. We hope to see you in less than 5 minutes. Thank you so much, sir. So you may leave the meeting now and then join in less than 5 minutes.